Good day! My name is Norinil Ranyola, a BSed student majoring in English, Section 1B. Today, I'm going to discuss about the philosophical perspective of arts in Lesson 3. The objective of this lesson is to help the learners understand the different philosophical perspective of arts and be familiar with the philosopher that we are going to talk about in this lesson. The philosophical perspective of art is the study of the nature of art. It includes concepts like imitation, representation, expression, and form. Now let us talk about the first philosophical perspective of art, which is art as an imitation. But before we dig in, let us first acknowledge the first philosopher that we are going to talk about in this particular perspective of art. He is one of the world's best-known philosophers and the founder of Platonist school of thought. It is no other than Plato. One of his famous work is The Republic. In that book, Plato illustrates artists as imitators and art as a mere imitation. Why did Plato present this kind of idea? Well, it is because of his theories about art. In his book, Plato emphasized that art as an imitation of an imitation, because according to him, there is a world of ideals where everything is right and true, and he also stated that our lives here on earth is just an imperfect imitation of the ideal world. This is the reason why Plato has a problem with artists and poets, since he thinks that artists and poets are producing something that are thrice removed from what is the truth. Plato thinks that artists wants to deceive us into believing that something is true even if it's not. Plato is suspicious with art and artists because first, they appeal to the emotion rather to the rational faculty of men, and second, they imitate rather than lead one to reality. Now let us go to the second philosophical perspective of arts, which is art as a representation. The philosopher that we are going to encounter in this perspective of art is a student of Plato. He is also one of the greatest philosophers like his teacher, and he is the founder of the Lyceum in Athens. He also invented the field of formal logic. He is no other than Aristotle. Aristotle quietly agreed to the concept of Plato about art, that art is an imitation. However, Aristotle incorporated that art represents possible versions of reality. If Plato stated that artists like poets are not useful in the society, Aristotle thinks otherwise, because Aristotle believes that artists are important. For the reason that a person to function in the best way possible, that person should experience all sorts of emotions and feelings. But human as you are, it is quite impossible to experience all those emotions since we have different experiences in life. That validates the significance and purpose of art, to make us feel and experience the things that we are not able to perceive and encounter. Aristotle considers that art serves two particular purposes. One, art allows for the experience of pleasure, and art as an ability of instinctive and teach its audience things about life. Let us proceed to the third philosophical perspective of art, which is art as a disinterested judgment. The philosopher that we are going to talk about in this particular perspective of art is a German philosopher and one of the central Enlightenment thinkers. His best-known work is The Critique of Pure Reason. Yes, it is Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant recognized that art is subjective. Nevertheless, Kant developed a proposal that even subjective judgment should be based on some universal standard for the said judgment. Kant also emphasized that there is something in the work of art that makes it more effective in inciting the same feeling of pleasure and the satisfaction from any perceiver, regardless of his or her condition. For Immanuel Kant, after perceiving any form of art, every human should recognize the beauty that is inherent in that work of art. Now let us go to the last philosophical perspective of art, which is art as a communication of emotion. The last philosopher that we are going to know in this lesson is Leo Tolstoy. Maybe some of us are familiar with him and some might not. Well, Leo Tolstoy is a Russian writer and one of the greatest authors of all time. He received a lot of nomination for Nobel Prize in Literature from 1902 to 1906. He also received nomination from Nobel Prize in 1901, 1902, and 1909. His famous written masterpieces are War and Peace and Anna Karenina. For him, art plays a huge role in communication to its audience emotions that the artist previously experienced. Art then serves as a language, a communication device that articulates feelings and emotion that are otherwise unavailable to the audience. Leo Tolstoy asserted that art is the central of man's existence for the reason that it makes accessible feelings and emotion of people from the past and the present, from one continent to another continent. Well, that would be the end of my lesson. I hope that you have learned a lot from the 4 different philosophical perspectives of art. I hope that you enjoyed my presentation and have fun learning, everyone. God bless us all.